Oh. You ready to talk your head off?
Yes.
It's not like you do that already.
Yeah.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eat Time, episode 208.
He's being very, very, very quiet. You can tell. There's a very big emphasis on trying not to break the sound barrier of my tiny Japanese apartment.
It is so hard.
You can talk at the regular volume.
Okay.
I don't want your viewers to be like, you put a leash on my man. You constipated Philip.
I think my
my
viewers would be okay with that because most of my viewers are already your viewers anyway.
Maybe.
And I'm pretty sure you have more sway in my viewers than me.
I don't think so, but...
the comments are gonna... Anyway, 208, big episode because we skipped last week because of obvious reasons. Worlds happened. I should have got the guys to do that, but I forgot.
Are you flying during the last one?
No.
Okay.
It was literally the day of Worlds. We usually try to do them on Saturdays, that way we get all of the week.
Right. Yeah.
But, oh well. Hey, at least it paid off. Look who I got.
Hello.
I'm holding him by the leash.
Oh no.
Anyway, we got a jam-packed episode. We're going to just skip the comments because most of you guys probably already know the comments. The set's fully out. You can look at the deck list. So we're just going to look at the 3 new ride lines, a couple of great promos, and 1 or 2 cards that are just special in between. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road so we don't have to rant that long so we can let this man rest.
Hey, yes, package for Mr. Top Deck Heroes.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Top Deck Heroes? Mr. Top Deck Heroes, your package. Man, another one? What is with this guy? Mr. Top Deck Heroes, again.
Oh, Melody again.
Mr. Top Deck Heroes, your package. Oh, God, thank you, that was heavy. What's in that one?
Oh, trading cards.
Cards. Was every one of them cards?
Yeah.
How can you afford that?
Oh, that's interesting you say that. I got it from the voice bit.
Secret. Man, these people are crazy.
It's no secret. 50 cards. Use code TDHeroes for a discount.
Starting us off with Wings of Aspiration Soil. We already know he exists. We know because of the start decks. So we can skip him and go straight into the Razel ride line with Patrol of Gust Pentesta. I love that you're here because you can read the proper card and then tell me how wrong I am.
I mean, this one's in English for some reason, right?
I do not know, but I do know his effect is auto.
It's in English.
I don't know. When this unit is wrought upon by Knight of Great Advanced Censure, call this card to rear guard and soul charge wound, and then continue to rear guard during your turn. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Rosalind's card name, this unit gets power 2k, make it a 10k booster, or even attacker, honestly.
Yeah. It seems pretty decent. Like, it's like one of, like, any ride on that plus usually is fine, and like, it gives back the soul so you don't lose out on that.
Exactly, that's really the key part. I think we're slowly getting some killer ride lines where you're going to skip on the grade 2 effect because we're going to get to it, because it needs the proper Vanguard, but we're getting certain ride lines in Keter that can go into any vanilla deck, because Ketter's always been falling back on Blasted Arc. And until we got the Alden ride line, there was really nothing other than Blasted Arc if you just wanted a good vanilla ride line.
True, yeah, because it was always just like Bastion or like Youth, where it's like very like archetypical.
And on top of that, not that good. Like Bastion players have been suffering for the longest time going, oh look, a heal trigger.
Yeah, right, so it's a bit rough. But this one seems good.
Exactly. And I'm going to move on. And if you haven't watched Free Time, this is how it works. It's your turn.
Okay. We have Knight of Great Advanced Ascensior. So he's the grade 2. Looks very nice.
Yes, I am inverted. I am the correct one.
Scroll.
I am the correct way.
One.
I'm the correct way.
Very cringe. Inverted scroll is very cringe.
The correct way.
But when you ride with a grade 3 Razel over him, you choose a grade 2 or less card from drop and call it to rear. So it's pretty good. I think it it already works in conjunction with like Maple, but I guess this means you don't need Maple, because that kind of like just revives it. I haven't really thought about Razel builds, but I guess like you want Karubure, and this works also nicely with Karubure as well. So there's quite a few good generic. There's also not just Cadbury, there's also a Cadwalla you could run this with, because he also if you expect a lot of like Varga Dragres to roam around, then he like pops himself so you don't lose a card from being retired by Varga's effect. So
it also just it helps having a card that feels like your ditch for ride is not punished.
yeah, that's true. It also could be grade 2 or less, so you can actually use like Selga on
True.
and bring it back out.
We're
like
first gonna get
Painkiller.
Selga.
Yeah, well, you need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to get it.
All right. Let's actually talk about, because we're starting to see a trend here with especially the grade 2 ride line and what Razel's whole new gimmick is, and it's more Grand Blue Stoicheia-esque than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because we got Fatal One of Miracles, Razel. Side note, I made my third Baldur's Gate character named Razel, and he was super evil.
And he has 300 hours in Baldur's Gate as well.
As I remembered. Anyway, 2 effects, one of them of course being the Divine Skill. And the first one, which is the main effect, is auto when this unit attacks a Vanguard, costs counter +1, choose up to 2 cards from your drop with different grades and total grade less than equal to the number of cards in your damage zone, and call them to rear guard. And then his Divine Skill is act Vanguard, costs soul +1, return critical from your drop to the deck and shuffle it. And this unit gets drive +1 until the end of turn, making it a triple drive unit. Also, until the end of fight, you cannot ride units without Razel in their card names, and you, the player, you get when your damage check reveals a trigger unit other than heal. If your damage zone has 5 or more cards, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it, and you lose this ability.
Yep.
Holy balls.
Yeah, this is
like it puts triggers back, especially crits, which means if it rewards going deck out late, deck out.
Yeah.
Like making it that just goes on top of the fact that every trigger when you're 5 damage is now a heal trigger.
Yeah, I think it's also something that's very interesting is that I've heard people say like, oh, why don't we just put this into other decks too? Because it's like you could put this into like Youth or Bastion Accord, where it's like, okay, well, I've exhausted my Persona rides and stuff. Let me go into this guy, Divine Skill, all my triggers back. Now it's like my deck was small and I was gonna deck out and lose anyway, but now I survive, and also I have like 6 damage heal, you know, from all the crits that I put back into deck. And then it's like, even with the first skill, even if you put this into decks that aren't himself, you can then still use the first skill to call random stuff from drop, right? So
it's
like
5 attacks and 5 damage like this.
Yeah, so it's pretty nice. You get yourself, you know, you get your extra attacks. You do lose any effects that require a certain named Vanguard, but at the same time, there's not necessarily that many of them. So I feel like he's actually pretty nice, not just like a deck, but this is the first time we get a grade 3 boss unit that is like, kind of like OG Vanguard, where you go like, I'd be sitting on Alfred and then going to Soul Saver to win the game.
It's a finisher,
right?
yeah. I forget, decks always had this one unit.
This, back in the day, we had a lot of these, and it was like a very common thing. And I feel like Razel is finally the first time in like over 5 years. Like I think even G-Era we didn't have that because of strides.
Yeah, because a lot of decks focus on their archetype, and if you weren't doing the archetype, the deck wasn't working.
Yeah, it's like...
Okay, no. Actually, we had actually a very recent example of taking in a finisher into a deck just to finish the game. Do you know when it happened?
No.
You should. It was at your Invitational.
Oh, like in Premium, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, what, the Photon
Yeah.
Legion? Yeah, that's
Tell me that's not just in there for a finisher. Like, I'm about to deck out. Let me Legion in.
I'm referring more to like cards that have released, right? So that released before G-Era. And like Legion did have a lot of them. So it's like you go into one of your legions for like mid game and then go into another legion for late game. So it's like you had, you know, like even like Seekers would like use the Wingull Legion, and then after that go into Thingsaber after they've like actually built up a drop zone. Or that was also the whole thing of like Break Ride Legion decks, where they would like farm resources while on Break Ride and then Break Ride Legion up and like put a bunch of triggers back in compressed state. So this really feels like it's a very similar card, but we haven't had a card designed in this manner since G.
Yeah.
And that's 2014, so 10 years.
Yeah, because everything is super restricted, and especially
actually 10 years. That's pretty ridiculous. Like,
look, if you didn't build a deck around their gimmick, the grade 3 just didn't work.
Yeah, and this actually does, which I think I'm quite happy with.
Closest thing we got there, and we did it on our channel.
Oh, we had not Messianic Lord Blaster, but Exculpate from Vieira.
That was the finisher.
Yeah.
But I'm more talking about recent standard. If you want to consider the finisher, we basically, there was support cards for Dragon Empire for Mushido armor or something like that.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Exactly, remember? Like, it got a grade 1 support card, and because we made a deck around it, and I had to build a deck. And because it's like you can persona write anything, it was a question of, okay, what card do you even choose? And I went for Overlord because he's generic and restands and does stuff.
Yeah. So TLDR, I think we're both big fans of this card. I think it's just, there's actually so much more to unpack about it than...
Dude, if there weren't so many people on our channel who already called Divs to want to build this, I'll be one of them.
You still can.
You're not wrong, but I focus on Brent Kid and Dark States, and we'll get to those later. But we got to also see what... Because, you know, these cards just don't exist. They get support.
Yeah.
And they get decent support. One of them is Gigantic Masher.
Yeah.
It's a grade 3 rare that says continuous rearguard if your unit was placed on rearguard by the ability of your Vanguard Razel on its card hand. This unit, this turn, this unit gets 15k power, making a 28k attacker. So
it's pretty significant. Like 28k for no cost.
Yeah, exactly. You need a beat state because Razel's ability is multi-tech, and if you just call vanilla units and you have Persona right, you're really not doing anything.
Yeah, so I think especially for like early builds of Razel that like are just Razel like centric, we'll probably include this guy. And we haven't had gigantic.
Not to mention, I will say I feel like the free power is balanced by calling a grade 3 and not having an interceptor.
True.
Lately, that's been very important. Every 5k shield matters. But that's not the only card. We got like a double rare and a triple rare.
All right, so double rare is Aerial Sage. So this is when it boosts. If you have a Razel Vanguard, then it gets plus 5k power. So it's already like a good revive target, I guess, off of Razel too, because it's like if you are swinging with a rear column first and then you're putting his defensive, you can call this guy to like break past the defensive at least. So if you boost like anything, it's like 10k or higher. And when you boost a grade 3 or greater with Razel in its name, you discard 1 to countercharge 1, and it gets plus 2k as well. So that's also nice because it's a 15k booster to a 13k, so it makes good numbers. Ditching 1 for CC is a bit pricey,
if
but...
it didn't work for Alden, I don't think it's going to work for Razel, because Alden has almost an identical card in a grade 1 that says on place, it gains 2k for that turn, and you can discard a card that cannot charge.
Yeah.
And nobody really wanted to use it because unfortunately we're in a current state of Vanguard where hand size is important unless you really have dead cards in hand, which for counter decks does not exist because almost everything is a piece or a unit.
Yeah, or discard synergy like with other effects, which
exactly
we don't really have encountered that much to my knowledge.
Like if you're playing a Brentgate deck or a Zorga or something with a lot of orders, it makes sense to have discard mechanics because you sometimes get filled with orders that don't do anything.
Yeah.
So at least there, but Counter is one of those decks that this is unit specific. Every piece is almost a piece you do really not want to ditch.
Yeah. So pretty okay card, but Triple Rare seems a bit better.
Triple Rare always should be better than Triple Rares. If Triple Rare is not good, we'll get to that one. But Knight of Gentle Beauty Nobia. Long ability, so let's go through it. Auto, when this unit is placed on the rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Razel in its card name, Cannonblast Sloan, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 3 or less card from among the called rear guard and put the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order. If it is your battle phase, reveal it and put it into the hand instead of calling. So just plus engine, because why not?
Yeah.
Auto rear guard, when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Razel in its card name, Soul Blast 1, this unit gets 10k power until the end. We have seen a lot of these effects lately.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these specific, like you're grade 3, I'm grade 3, 10k power to this unit.
Which is nice because it's like, it means that you don't get to bomb rush your opponent going first. It's like, they've been trying to make going second better and better, and like now the energy also, you get more energy from going second, so it's like, there's been decks opting to go second, like Stride decks and Mass decks, so I think as we keep getting more good going, because like Vanguard is such a game where going first is just so good that they keep having to print things that benefit you from going second, and especially the more good energy using cards we get, the more going second will become appealing. Because you get to use it, so of course that's also very appreciated. But
like overall, just an amazing card. Like we've seen the effect of, especially in Keter, just being able to look at top 5, call something, just be good. People have been running more and more of the Keter Cat just because of that reason of place, look at top 5, give me a piece.
Yeah, it's like the fact that it takes anything is pretty good too. Is like call this mid-battle phase from Razel's effect. You also might fetch a PG.
Exactly.
And it does not specify it to be a unit card, so you can also choose an order from this if you choose to play an order-based engine or just like want to find your Sanctitude or something. So it's pretty good. I think Razel does seem a bit CB heavy, so maybe that double rare countercharger will be played, but we'll see about that. It seems like there's a fair bit of cards that CB, and especially if you run like Cardfight as well, it's going to be a little bit suspect.
I mean, the most you can really do with this card is if you sequence this with the double rare, you can call this CB, grab something. Worst case, you grab something to ditch for the grade 1, so your hand doesn't change and you've technically deck failed.
Yeah. So pretty good. I think it's overall a nice card.
All right, we got an in-between card because last week we saw 5 cards that supported the original quick start decks, and they were all grade 3s and they all did this very similar things, but one of them was missing.
Yes. So the one for Christianos, the Stoichea one. So this one actually was revealed, I think, like the night before Worlds or something. So I actually like very briefly read it, but it kind of already escaped my mind because that whole weekend of anything they revealed within those days, I was just like,
This
they're just like in one year out the other. So it's actually nice to reread them. So basically, when this one's placed from on rear from drop, if you have a Christianos grade 3 greater Vanguard, he gets plus 10k until end of turn, but he retires at the end of turn. So he basically refuels your drop to be called by Christianos, which is not bad either. But when he attacks, you can solve us 1 once per turn to choose your Vanguard and give it plus 5k. So that already is nice for building numbers because the Vanguard gives itself plus 10k from the search effect. So that way you're making it a 28, so it's a bit more like, they can't just drop a 15 and a 10, they have to drop, 2 15s basically for 2 to pass. And if your Vanguard is standing when he attacks, and you Soul Blasted a basically Christianos for the cost of this effect, you stand him at the end of the battle. So this is basically potential 5 attacks. So if you have 2 of these lined up and you have 2 Christianoses in Soul for some reason, so you have to have Soul, like Persona Righted and Soul Charged 1 off of some Soul Charge effect, you could get 5 attacks, but usually you're gonna have 4, which is also really good because, I mean, this being a, like plus 5k to itself is also good. You get kind of, it's just like a new age Tidal Assault kind of for the Tidal Assaulty looking deck.
I'm racking my brain in my Stoichea library. It's not as big as my other nations, and I can't remember any specific card that says targeted Soul Charge in any way, shape, or form.
No, it's all random, so.
You have them in Dark States, but not here. Which,
so.
Overall, you said it beautifully. It's a really good card. Unlike other decks, though, like the other grade 3s we saw for this deck, it doesn't somehow plus you, because all of them manage to somehow plus you 1 card when they.
I think this deck, the grade 3 pluses more than the other ones.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it was missing the extra attack, so I think it's fine.
Well, now people are going to be happy that the Aquavore looking unit can multi-attack.
As it should.
Exactly.
Like Buff Saga doesn't need the extra attack, but this does.
All right. Now we get, why is this one here? Goodbye. This should have been something else. Now we get to the Varga.
Yes.
The big boy himself. We already know the starter from
a while ago,
but now it's time to look at the right line. I want to let you go first.
Okay, so we have Blaze Ember Dragon. So this is the grade 1 of the ride line. When he's ridden over by Boulder Axe Dragon, you call him to rear and Soul Charge 1, so it's the exact same effect as the previous one. And also, the other effect is the same as the Cutter one, where if you have a grade 3 greater Varga, Vanguard, then he gets plus 2k. So it's kind of the same thing. You can just kind of like use it as a good booster behind your Vanguard, which is going to be restanding. So it has value there. It makes
sense from the episode that they're mirroring each other a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes I don't like these kinds of effects. Honestly, because it's such a generic and good effect, I don't really mind it. You don't minus on Soul, you get a free unit that can be either an early game attacker or just a good booster.
Yeah.
Overall, it's not a bad ability.
It's not bad, yeah.
But here's where they should start differing with Boulder Axe Dragon. Auto, when this unit is run upon by grade 3 with Varga and its card name, call this card a rear guard.
Yep.
Auto rear guard, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 greater Vanguard with Varga and its card name, this unit gets power 5k until the end of that battle. At the end of the battle, retire this unit and draw a card. I think this ride line card is going to be played more than just in the ride line.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the conclusion a lot of people have been coming to as well, because it's like the self-ping to draw is pretty good in a deck that wipes out your front row anyway. So I feel like Boulder Axe is going to be seen a bit more too, and like converting into a draw in a deck that self-retires its front row is always good. So
this reminds me
like a better Brachio.
So much of Tachikaze.
I guess a
Hiring
little
your
bit.
own units to plus back.
A little bit, yeah. It's like I didn't really make that connection because I like the Tempest Storm or whatever what was like that samurai dragon from Narukami called again? It's like
Oh my god,
Tempest.
Narukami.
I think it was Tempest
You're blanking me.
Bolt. Let me check. I feel like it was Tempest Bolt.
I know so many Narukami units because of Alex, but you have now just completely stumped me because all of them were not holding swords. All of them.
It is Tempest Bolt.
It is Tempest
There
Bolt.
we go.
Tempest Bolt. that predates me.
Yeah, this is an old card. So, pretty nice one. Pretty nice one.
Well, enough of old cards. There's new cards to talk about.
Yeah, Varga Dragres. This is I think the one I'm most excited about from the new red lines. Well, it's just cool, but it's like doesn't feel as new because there's an old deck getting support. But Varga has some cool effects that we saw, of course, in episode 3 of the anime. So when it attacks once per turn, kind of wants 1 to retire all of your opponent's yours and your opponent's front row rear guards, and he gets plus 10k until end of turn. So he keeps it for the turn. And the battle stands and loses 2 drives. So an important note there already is that this doesn't work with the Dragon Empire OT, which is a note that other people have picked up on, and I think it's quite interesting that they chose to go this design choice because every other Dragon Empire boss so far has always had some kind of like, if not synergy, at least like not anti-synergy. This one's literally anti-synergistic.
Zedlance
But Zedlance
also restands.
before.
Yeah, you activate the ability before you, when you attack, so the OT doesn't work there too.
They really don't want the Dragon Empire OT to stay anymore. That's why they reprinted the red and blue ones. We're probably gonna get a new one in Festival as well. But then his divine skill is end of the battle, this unit attack the grade 3 or greater unit. If your opponent's damage is 4 or more, and he's attacked 2 or more times, you can plus 1, stand it, and he gets drive plus 2 until end of turn. So you could hypothetically not use the first skill, check the OT, attack a second time, and then proc the divine skill for 4 drives, but that's not very likely to happen. So usually this deck kind of is, or this card specifically, is going to force you to use the first skill and then use the second skill. So it's like, I feel like the Keter one was the most like flexible and expressionable card. It's like you have so much things you could pair this with for the on-call, and you have so much things you could use as like a final like end boss, like end game boss. And then this one is more just like, I mean, you could splash this into other things too, but it feels like if it doesn't persona right, it just lacks a lot because it's a deck that lives and dies by its drive checks.
You're not wrong, but it's still a 23k attacker. Like, if your opponent's at 5 damage with any Dragon Empire deck, you just ride this, and here's 3 attacks where you got a minimum guard with 15k shield for 1 pass. One of them you don't have to worry because it has some drive checks, but then it gains drive checks again.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you still have the 2 attacks that are just lingering.
And I quite like that because the divine skills are once per game abilities that other decks like don't normally have. So you're kind of like, if you want to make use of them in other Dragon Empire decks, like you basically have to put this into your Dragon Empire deck. But I'm not sure how much we'll see that, right? Because for a lot of other, like, I wouldn't really want to be putting this into Jiva because like that way my whole deck turns off. And even if I'm doing 3 Vanguard swings, like my rear swings pack a bigger punch and I have triple drive anyway. And this only gives me like potential 4 drives. So would I rather have like 3 Vanguard swings with 4 drives, or just have the 1 Vanguard swing with triple drive and 5 rearguard attacks? So in a sense, I'm, the amount of attacks is the same, but it doesn't hurt the consistency and add bricks for my Dayu to whip and stuff, right? So it's like, I guess you'll have to think about how much value does this card bring. I think
Imagine Overlord, like, I'm sick of 2 attacks, 3 attacks now.
Yeah. I think that in terms of splashiness, we're going to see the Keter one more than this one. But I personally like this one as a boss unit more. I also just love Hagia Sensei's on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Big fan of that one.
But as per usual, it doesn't end there.
Yeah.
We got cool things like a grade 3 that's help.
Obduracy.
Thank you. Glaive Dragon. Yeah, you're gonna notice I sometimes forget how to read.
It's interesting because the Japanese one is Obdurus Glaive Dragon, so it's Obduracy for some reason in Japanese, or in the translation, but
No clue who translated. But
Yep.
the ability is well translated because it goes continuous front row rear guard during your turn if you do not have another front row rear guard with the same card name as this unit. This unit cannot be retired by card effects and gains plus 10k power.
Yep.
So, hello rear guard that stays. And the continuous trigger, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, this unit gets boost.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's like 13k boost or 23k boost, I guess. You know, it's also interesting that he can be retired by card effects and he only looks at the front row. So it's like, you can have 2 other things in the front row and then still have them in the back row and his effect is still
No, the front row Vanguard only 7.
Never mind. I missed that part.
They were smart about it.
Smudge. Okay, so either use him as a 13k booster or you have him as a 23k attacker.
Whenever we get to that card, I think I know why he's designed that way, and I'll mention it there, but we got a double rare in between.
Impale Horn Dragon is the grade 1 double rare, so when he boosts, if you're Vanguard or Varga, it gets plus 5k, so same as the previous one. And then for when he boosts Varga specifically, gets plus 2k until end of battle, and then you can soul boss 1 and retire to draw a card. So it's a painkiller, basically, that gains a bit of power, which is...
It's very similar to grade 1 for Razel, just instead of counter charges, retire this and draw.
Yeah, I feel like this is the deck that I wanted to countercharge way more, because that's what I heard. I heard from people playtesting the deck that it's like, the CB is the main issue.
This is the reason. Dragritter Shura is the reason why CC would make this deck kind of busted, because she's got 2 abilities. First one is Auto Rigor, when this unit attacks, Energy Blast 2, which on the side note, I don't think Razel Energy Blasts at all.
No, I don't think he does.
And this unit gets power 5k until the end of battle, so it's a 15k attacker. Choose up to one of your rear guards with a different card name from this unit, and it gets, when this unit is retired from rear guard, put this card into your hand.
Yeah, very good thing.
The second one is the CB thing. Auto when this unit is retired from rear guard by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard Varga in this card name. If your opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, counter blast 1, call this card to rear guard, and it gets 10k power until the end of turn.
Yeah. So it's like, even before reading her text, like, she is 1, beautiful, 2, drawn by Hagia Sensei, so this is the same artist as Dragres itself, but also Youthbird, Bluish Flames, etc. So I always like anything that he draws or they draw. I believe actually female, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll have to double check that. But overall, multi-attack in the deck that was already getting quite a few attacks. So that's what I mean, like, this is, like, this card specifically is probably the reason why you want to build a deck around, you know, Varga, instead of having to splash it, because you have not just 3 Vanguard swings when your opponent's at critical health, but you also have quite a few. I mean, she is worded in a way that she has to be, I mean, you could technically have 2 of her on the board and get, you know.
So, in the perfect situation,
7 attacks.
4 CB.
Yeah, 4 CB is pretty tough. Because both of Varga's affect CB1, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the Divine Skill, I kind of wish it didn't CB, but...
So you can do 6 attacks with 3 CB, not activating Divine Skill.
Yeah.
That's basically the idea behind multiple. You're probably not going to try to go for multiple of these every time, like 1 more extra so you can at least get 4 attacks each turn. So 2 CB, 4 attacks a turn is not bad. You're plussing because you're bouncing the card that's in the other column, or you have, honestly, not only, wait, I do need it, hold up, now my brain is clicking. Oh, you can retire the grade 2 plus 10 bounce into hand. That's good. That's a Bermuda thing. That's a Bermuda thing right there.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice that you just get to recycle a card that draws 2 cards. So it's like, you get to use it again next turn, and then as long as you can keep, because this draws, you have more chance to dig into a copy of Shura as well. So
I like
her a lot.
I like this a lot, yeah. It's gonna be fun times testing, but like everybody in, like every faded one in this set, they got an extra triple rare because, you know, it's their first reveal set. They have to have the best support available.
Yep.
They have to have really good defining support. Why?
You're not a fan of Tour.
I am and I am not. I'll go on this rant, but first we need to figure out what it is. It's Bliss Operator Turus?
Turu is the Japanese name, so it's like just Tour.
Was there an S there?
Silent, bro. She's French.
Valid. That is actually valid. It's a beautiful art.
Yep.
Gorgeous. And the effect is continuous trigger during your turn. If your order zone has a product, which is not going to be hard, this unit gets power 5k, you get 15k. That's actually really good ability.
Yes.
Auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Velstrand's card name with Divine Skill, +1, choose a product from your order zone and operate it. It is fry height for CB1 instead of Soul Blast 2.
Yes.
Here is the shtick, though. CB is already tight.
Yep.
It's only a 15k. And when you read this, you're like, is that it? Like, it felt like Velstrand needed something more fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, Brang has so many counterchargers. Like, you're already running Mobile Mine, you have more deck space now. Like, there is another countercharger in this set that was already revealed prior.
When your grade 2 greater product, when your grade 2 greater set order is placed in the order zone, put this in soul counter.
Yeah, so it's like you have so many counterchargers that it's like, I don't think it's that bad that this CB is. If anything, you were tighter on soul than CP. So
it's not. And while all the things that feel like they're missing are there, at the same time, she does things where it's like, this is nifty. I've had a chance to shadow play test, and also play against someone with this card, and she comes in clutch more than I thought she would. Yes, CB, it can be tight, but because New Velstra does things in certain ways, you're no longer going for the 5 attack maximum play. You're more inclined to go the big laser and just do 4 attacks. So you're negging your opponent up to 15k in one turn just because of you activating 2 orders. To get 15k neg, you would need to activate 3 orders, which, you know, is already better economy. On top of that, you still have Bowman, you still have the counter charges, so the CB is not that bad. And if you really don't want to use her CB to operate to get a maximum on the board, you can just operate the grade 2 and draw a card. Like, there's actually a lot of cool utility here. And honestly, the biggest surprise in playtesting I had was the 5k power, which matters. If you sequence your attacks correctly and you operate maximum, her boosted by a Boba main, swinging at an 8k Vanguard for 23 is a 15k shield already out of hand.
Yeah, I think with like paired with a minus power, and because now you have 2 minus power.
Actually, let me correct myself, because most of the time you're gonna do this: swing a Vanguard, neck 10, swing with this. It's a 23 versus a 3.
Yeah, right. So it's like the plus 5k is like, it doesn't seem like it's that crazy in a vacuum, but specifically when you look at the greater package, it's like, oh, never mind.
I have found myself in so many times in problems, especially actually in the video where we did the new Velstra, where I only have a front row of grade 2s in Velstra and I didn't Persona Rat. So I have to sequence my attacks in weird ways to start negging their power so my tank can hit an 8.
Right.
This thing is already at 15. You can fix that problem a little bit already.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the good proc. I feel like in general, I personally think it's a good card. Just because like you have enough CC to where this shouldn't be really an issue. And like Fry Heights, the Act skill, maybe you'll burst that a bit less now. Just search for Persona Ride once, or like if you need to get the Fry Shoots maximum.
So you want to hear a secret?
Yeah.
I have a deck list that I think is really solid, and we're gonna use on video. Guess how many counter charges is running?
6.
4 Bogmains, and that's it.
Yeah,
and
I think
it still works.
Honestly, I think that's probably fine. Like I saw Kai's list this morning too, and he just had the 4 Bubble Mine too, and like now with 50 cards you have the space. So
exactly.
Like, why not? Right.
There is a tech card I want to mention right now that's going to be very apparent in video that I think is, I won't say necessary, but I feel so good in the deck. There's a grade 1 Blitz. It's actually not even a Blitz unit. There's a grade 1 robot, a common from set 12 or 13 that literally just said, when a grade 2 greater set order is put into your order zone, you can put this card into your soul and draw a card.
Oh, I think I have a big idea which card that is, yeah.
It fits so well because it helps your soul count for Fry Hide and other abilities. And yes, I do run the grade 2 from set 13. That's Soul Blast 2 when you operate draw a card. It actually comes in handy. And then he's also just draws your card on top, because also the biggest problem, and I'm going to stop this trend after this, is the fact that you do all these things, you kind of bounce your rear guards, but then your hand size is very okay-ish. It's not quite where you need it to be, because you don't want to use your rear guards that you bounce to guard with, because you need to recall them for the next turn.
I need someone that, like, you know that meme of like that dude who's like explaining things like very fast and like pointing at the board? I need someone to just like green screen out Philip doing that and like speed it up quickly, and it's like least passionate Welstra fan. It's just like
dude, if I could talk about Velstra all day, I would, but we can't.
Time to write an essay.
We got 2 more cards before we talk about new ride lines. Technically, this is a new ride line because Megumin's back in the anime, and as such, she needs upgrades, right?
Yes, Bulbulax, Mr. Peach Time. This is like the deep lore of my channel coming out here, but they finally decided to fix Magnolia's ride line, which is nice. So when he's ridden over by I always like to call the archetype Mr. Beast. So when he's ridden upon by a grade 2 Mr. Beast, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose a grade 2 or less normal unit from among them, call it to rear, and you may discard the rest. And if you didn't, then you put the remaining cards on the bottom deck in any order. So you can't choose to discard like one and then put the rest back. You have to choose either you discard the remaining 2 or you put them back to the deck. So I think it's quite good because it's also just like you get to call something out and it's not just like, oh, I whiffed, or it's like, oh, I just call a trigger or whatever. So it's like, finally, Magnolia's red line actually has basic like human rights at this point. It feels like they gave it basic decency at long last.
Oh, do you remember what the promo grade 3 Thea unit was called? The one that works off of orders and just calls tokens.
The flower girl.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm blanking on her
I'm
name.
blanking on it too for some reason. Yeah.
But it just came to mind, this can actually be a really good generic red line for her because she does want cards in drop.
True. That could actually help as well. Yeah, it could be.
Like, I like the fact, I think we talked about it on your stream during the Tuesday thing. It's like he goes into Magnolia well and he works off of either putting cards back in deck fitting or just setting up your drop zone.
Mr. Beast.
Well, speaking of Mr. Beast, here's a double joke. We have Mr. Beast lettuce.
That's right. The new Mr. Beast burger condiment.
I know, right? He got an upgrade, and he's honestly really good.
Yep.
Auto in the scene is drawn upon a grade 3 card with Magnolia in its card name. So plus one, choose a grade 3 or greater card from your drop or in normal order from your drop and put it into your hand. And it continues during your turn. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Magnolia in its card name, this thing gets 5k power.
Yep.
So overall, it just does good things.
Yeah, it's your Elder.
Yep.
If you ditch that by accident, or like through the grade 1 of the red line, for example, gets you orders back too if you play any. I mean, Habitat is like a must-have, I think, in like every Stoichea deck, so it gets you your Habitat back too.
This is, I forgot the name of it, but this is Zorga's grade 2 ride line on a stick with a Soul Blast.
Yeah, and like a bit of extra power too, so a bit of like rearguard utility. So good card. Good
My
card, I think. Like,
teammate Alex plays Maggie a lot, and he's recently been testing out with not actually playing ride line cards, but playing key piece cards in the ride line so he can call them out of drop after Soul Blasting.
yeah.
And this can actually basically do the same thing for his deck, so he can put a generic grade 1 that he wants potentially in there, and then Soul Blast and then call it out for whatever effect just to have it always active.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good card. I think it's just genuinely, like, they finally fixed the Maggie red line. It's like,
No, grade 3.
at long last.
Sorry, grade. Ignore me. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it has to be.
Reading is hard.
Yeah. It's fine.
Let's actually talk about some cool stuff.
All right. We have a
That's good. Yeah.
lyrical starter. We can skip that.
Yep, we know what it does. We need to know what the ride line does. And Lively Navy Tiffany.
Yeah, Define.
Is it Tiffany or no? There's an F.
Define. It's like also in Japanese, like Define.
You think with someone that constantly gets mistaken for PH would know how to read PH?
True.
Anyway, Auto. And now, right? When this unit is rolled upon by a confident Aqua Mazette, reveal the top card of your deck, call it a rearguard if it's a grade 2 or less normal unit, and put it into your hand if it is not.
Yeah.
Huzzah! Bastion's crying in a corner wishing it had an effect like this.
Yeah, true. It's like you get to call a card. You still call your triggers. Oh no, it's normal unit.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
so
you
your
don't
triggers get to your hand.
Haha.
This is really there's a ride line.
Triggers go to hand, your persona goes to hand.
Oh,
any other utility grade 3s in this deck because it's Highlander also go to hand.
Savara Yell's ride line did the exact same thing.
Yes.
Which was good.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Grade 2.
Grade 2, this one is Musette. This one was the mid one I remember where everyone was like, So when she's working on my grade 3 card with Chris Rain in his name, she basically does the same thing. Sorry, it was the grade 3 that was the mid one. She revealed the top card of your deck, call it to rear if it's a grade 3 or less normal unit, and put it to hand if it's not. So this one does call your persona right, unfortunately. Yes. But if it's, an order card, or if it's a trigger, it goes to your hand. Something this calls your PG though.
Hold up, no, that's not a bat. That's
you bounce it technically.
Yeah, this is a nation that just has bounce effects.
So I guess you can bounce your persona right too. It's not the end of the world.
No, I think this is fine for this specific nation. Any other nation maybe like, maybe not. Speaking of which, real quick tangent. In Velstra, if you use the top 5 effect of the grade 2 product, you can call a PG and then maximum it to hand.
Yeah, dude. I have done that in the past. This is also, I realized with the grade 1 ride line too, you could actually call out Valshablan and then bounce that to hand with like a Yuika or something and then ditch it for the right cost the turn after. So it's like, I guess there's a little bit of synergy with some stuff. But I
think Yuika is going to have a lot of mileage in this deck, especially because whenever you do not want to use a divine skill, Yuika is just going to get your pieces back.
Yep. Yuika, 3 reprints in and still going to the moon.
I know, right? Anyway, talk about the big one. Chris Rain, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Auto Vanguard once per turn, Cannabis one, and perform one of the following. If you have 4 or more units with different card names, perform 2 instead of 1, and if you have 5 or more, perform all instead of 1. So the first one is draw a card and energy charge 3, which overall is just not bad. More resources and let you play more energy cards on the deck and not feel bad.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of energy charging lyrical units so far, I think.
Exactly. And then choose one of your units and gets 15k until the end of turn, and this unit gets a crit until the end of turn. So overall, this could technically be a draw card, 28k double critical Vanguard.
Which is pretty good. Just for that already, I think it's pretty decent, but it's just that the kind of thing that all of the lyrical bosses do of like, except for Sienna, of like usually having some multi-attacks. She doesn't do it unless you use her divine skill.
Granted, this reminds me of a lot of other cards that do similar things, because Divine Skill is auto at the end of battle that this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater unit. Return all your rear guards to your hand. Choose up to 1 unit card from your hand, call it to rear guard, and until the end of the turn, increase or decrease that unit's power and critical to match this unit's. I want you to, do you remember what the era Asha did?
Yes. I mean, it's basically, that's just like the plants. The super plant token.
So the strategy was always, oh, look, a trigger, Vanguard. Oh, look, a trigger, Vanguard.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, you took it past, I don't care. It's like...
Exactly.
The only thing is that you probably... I mean, most of these divine skills are like that, where you're not using... Except for Wellstras, you're not using them turn 3.
No.
So the other 2 are both, they, like, with how fast the game is right now, probably turn 4 cards. This one also is like a turn 4 card, but I do feel like the investment return you get from Keter is the highest, and then the Dragon Empire one is like up to your triggers, but an extra attack is always good. This one gives you the extra attack, which is basically going to be at least a 28k with 2 crit, usually 38k with 2 crit because you persona it, and then you put whatever triggers on top. So getting that extra attack, and especially the full board bounce, I think, is the especially cool thing, where you can kind of just like, even if your hand isn't that great in the late game, you can trigger, play everything out, bash, bounce everything back, call even like a 5k, and it'll become huge. So I think out of the 4 divine skills, I think she is unfortunately the least impressive one, but she's not bad. It's just that the other ones are better.
I will say, in Vanguard's history, usually the most non-impressive simple abilities wind up being the best.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to be fancy, you just need to work.
That's right. Perfect Riser, CB2 to stands rear guards was the most dogshit skill ever and remained the most dogshit skill there was. But I think, I do have hopes. I think, like, limiting multi-attack to once per fight is fine, especially because this works with any card that calls stuff mid-battle phase.
Well, you know, she's not just a big number, 28k, potentially 38k double critical. She does have some, you better do this or you're gonna suffer cards.
Yep. So this is Raum. So she's a grade 1 that gets plus +5k if you have a Chris Rain Vanguard. But most importantly, when she boosts Chris Rain herself, if you have 4 more units with different names, you Energy Blast 3, and until end of battle, you and your opponent would call cards without Sentinel from hand to Guardian Circle. They must call 3 or more cards with different grades at the same time. So much like how Battledore and like the idea of Battledore in your opponent is named after a random rear guard that nobody ever uses. Actually, he was a Vanguard. It's even worse. But Raum, I think, will be the next like Raum clone. Like we're gonna be calling this idea of like guard restrict non-sentinels with your opponent has to call 3 different grades. Will become Raum clones, and I definitely don't think this is the first time we're gonna, like, this is the only time we're gonna be seeing this, because
like the closest thing we ever gotten to anything like this, outside of just, you know, the extra restriction of different grades, is Flagger. You have to guard with 3. Sienna is technically a guard with 3 or I have benefits card.
There's also what is it, the Dark Irregulars one?
Yes.
I forgot the name, but there's a Dark Irregulars one.
Baphomet or something like that. It's a grade 3.
No. It's
yeah, it's the Bastion. It's the Darkseid's Bastion, where you have to run a shit ton of grade 3s just to make them work.
No, that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a Dark Irregulars card, not a Darkseid.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking about a Darkseid card that actually is a guard 3 guard card.
Hope on Dam? Was that?
Oh no, there is a Murakumo card actually that is not quite this, but says that if you have guarded with a certain grade, you can't guard with that same grade for the rest of the turn.
There is. That's the, what is it? It's the freaking Oni dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Hope on Neb is kind of similar, where it's like they have to call a certain amount of original shield.
Yes.
So,
Leg.
Hard leg.
Hard leg.
Was
That's right.
another card. Yes. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's a cool card to look at, and I feel like we'll get more of these in the future. But this makes Chris Rain pretty interesting because Chris Rain herself gives energy 3.
Yep.
So you can kind of use this every turn and just kind of annoy your opponent because like you attack with 28, you're forcing them to drop 2 15s, but then it's like, haha, now you have to drop a 15
Well, it's
and
not
then
a
a
20.
1 and a 2.
It's not 20. This is boosting, so it's
True,
36.
yeah. And this gives 5k, so it's 41.
41 actually, yeah, 41.
Yeah, this is actually kind of annoying. So
It comes down to PG or GG again.
yeah, basically, it actually is going to be PG or GG territory. So maybe, the more we read these cards and actually talk about them openly, I'm starting to think that maybe Chris Rain
Not that bad. Like,
might not be that bad.
there's so many lyrical support cards that are actually decently good.
Yeah.
And then Chris Rain still has support cards that run around her, like Innocent Orange Ines.
Agnes.
Okay, thank you, because I was going to go with a different word.
Yes, Agnes, so it's Agnes.
Orange got support. Hi, Masha.
Yes.
They should have called her Masha. They missed an opportunity. They should have called her Masha.
Or Masha just changes her name to Agnes.
That is correct.
It's
Auto.
one government paperwork away.
Auto, when the student is placed on rear guard, if you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard with Constrain in his card name, Cannon Blast 1 and Energy Blast 3, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card from among them with a different card name from this unit. With a different card name from unit cards on your Vanguard and rear guard.
Basically, something you don't have on the board.
Exactly. Call it the rear guard and shuffle the deck. Auto rear guard when this unit attacks a grade 3 greater unit. If you have a 4 or more units with different card names, this unit gets power 10 until the unit battle. This is not restricted to your opponent being grade 3. You can have a 20k beat stick while they're grade 2.
Yeah, you do have to set up your board, so there's still like a condition for it.
Oh no, Lyrical. That's super hard.
The bigger thing for me is like this card is good and it works in conjunction with a divine skill. The only problem is that this thing is a Highlander deck. And I think you still run this at 4 though. Like this is by far her best card, and you're just like, I think there will be some cards like Yuika, Valsha Blood, and this that you just have to run in more copies. And we're gonna have to you have to have basically 4 different rears. So for the full skill to fire, you just basically have to hope that you don't draw into your dupes. You do draw off of the grade 3 too, and your ride line also reveals and adds stuff to hand / call stuff. So aligning 4 different rear guards is not that hard.
Not to mention this immediately with conjunction with the divine skill gives you access to 5 attacks, but the biggest problem is exactly what you said is unless you persona road, you gotta hope that your top 5 not only does not have your Vanguard in this card after you've used the divine skill, but it also has a unit that can punch.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, because you were gonna make this the same power as your Vanguard.
Exactly.
But the other one is gonna be like a little noodle,
So there is play potential here. It just needs okay, worst case scenario, if you don't see another rear guard to punch with, you call a booster.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess we'll see where this deck goes. I think I'll let people cook because it seems like the most difficult one to build.
Well, now we got to move on to the Thursday stream.
Yeah, which just happened.
Exactly. So these are fresh in your mind.
Yep. Eugene support alert. Eugene support alert.
Oh, sorry. I saw Gandiva first before Eugene. I saw what's supposed to be Eugene 2.0 before Eugene.
Yep.
Stormband Dragon. It's a grade 1. Auto when this unit is placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Eugene or Gandiva in this card name, Energy Blast 3, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you did not retire, draw a card and this unit gets power 5 until the end of the turn. At the start of your battle phase, if your opponent's rear guard was retired, the turn stay in this unit. So this unit's effect are 2 Eugene effects and 1 Gandiva effect.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to rest it in Gandiva. So the second ability literally only applies to Eugene.
Yeah, as it should, I guess. I think, will you use this in Gandiva? I think yes, because it's basically just,
It's
a free retire / draw. and it's also 13k body.
And it's honestly like, because it's the same thing Gandiva keep doing. Oh, you have more units. This is not going to draw. Haha, I activated best harvest. It's still going to draw.
Exactly. So I think this kind of helps to slot in the spots that Sturgano kind of took up and now doesn't anymore. So I think it's a good card then for Eugene. I mean, it's, you know, you get to retire 2 cards. It still doesn't make, I don't know, how many more random cards does Eugene need to get to finally become good? I feel like people don't even test the cards anymore. It's like...
I tested a Eugene recently. It was really hard to build because I was trying to go, I don't know, Eugene's just struggling and I'm going to reiterate.
We just need a new grade 3.
We need a new Eugene. Eugene needs a new Eugene. Every card
supporting got fixed by having a new grade 3.
Exactly.
That's all we need.
So many people
so
are like...
So did Zorgo.
Exactly. Yep. And Zorgo's going to get another form.
Yep.
All right, before I lose my mind with Eugene, holy shit! Here, talk about my boy Silhouette.
Winston from Overwatch is a grade 1. So he says, behind the Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, all your front row units with armed arms get plus 5k all selected during your opponent's turn. It's pretty huge because this applies to both their rear guard swings individually, but also when they dock into the Vanguard too. So that's pretty huge. Like your Vanguard gets another plus 10k. So I think your first Vanguard swing is like 41, 51, like pretty ridiculous. But the second effect, end of battle to boosted a Vanguard if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. So it's beneficial to go second with this. And you can choose to go second now. You get Energy Blast 3, aka it's free. You choose one of your units attached to your Vanguard and move it to an open rear circle as stand, which means that you have 5 attacks in armed arms, which is huge. Silhouette feels like it's going to be a real deck now, at long last.
I can see the deck list already in front of me. I can see the columns. You still run the grade 1 that can restand and become an 18k booster, so you have good columns, good call. Like this deck is finally shaping up to be something good, and front triggers galore.
Yeah, true. Fronts feel pretty good again. I'm still not sure about, like, I never actually ended up building and playing the deck, but now I guess with this being, it's nice that this is the promo pack that starts in March in Japan, and like March is going to be my freest month, so I can actually have time to grind. And there's definitely more than just one promo for me to grind in this one. So,
I will say, as someone who's played Silhouette so many times, it actually feels like a super fun deck to play. It was literally just, we could not find, I tried 2 decks. I tried the OG version that just ran the grade 1s and this. I tried a version where it ran nothing but grade 2s and used the order to allow grade 2s to boost. That was worse. That did not work. So having stuff like this where we go, okay, you don't need boosters. They do enough themselves. It's thank God.
Yeah, it's very nice. I like the deck thematically just from the manga, so
exactly,
pretty exciting.
Sequence this correctly, because the next card we got is a lyrical card, which I honestly did not see coming with
Sienna.
Yep, Roof Run. Oh boy, auto when this is placed on regular. If you have a Vanguard or Sienna discarding, Cannabis 1, Soul Charge 1. Then choose a card from your soul and put it into your hand. So you can basically add the card you just soul charge. If it add a PG, get exactly soul charge or something.
It's also like you get to get your persona rides back.
Your triggers.
And because you're putting your triggers into soul all the damn time, you can get your triggers back.
Exactly.
So that's actually arguably the biggest part, I think, is like that accessibility to your soul, which is a big resource in this deck.
But it doesn't end there, because it goes auto regard when your Vanguard with Sienna, its card name is attacked. Cost Energy Blast 3 and put this into your soul. Choose one of your Vanguards and it gets 15! Until the end of battle. There already exists a card in Sienna that goes to soul and gives 10k. So they got 2 rearguards that just give power, on top of triggers giving you 15, on top of Blitz orders not going to Guardian Circle.
Yeah, so this is really big because you can actually use this in conjunction with a Blitz order for like 30k, and then you still have Sienna's effect live.
Exactly.
So this is really good. I think Sienna was just missing more defensive tools that help also with the utility. And she basically got exactly that. So Sienna's like one of the lyrical decks I still have. I'm always in this eternal limbo of like, do I sell all of my lyrical decks already? Or do I keep trying to experiment with something? And I'm still not sure. It's like looking at card shops paying 5,000 yen per Valshable, and I'm like, I could just get 20k yen out of that. But I'm also like,
So, brain stop there for a second. I am back.
Reconnected.
I know, right? It's sometimes it's like, oh, there's a thought and it went, and there's a thought and it went. But this card the biggest thing for Sienna and the biggest weakness, especially with this card and the original card that went to Soul and gave 10k, is the fact that against retire decks, you really feel bad of calling this, so you're losing all the shield. And I think Sienna is one of those rare decks where you do not run any other Regulus piece than the blanket.
Yeah, I think you really do have to just ladder and just be like, no, you can't touch. And I mean, most decks sadly have to default to ladder, and it being a very expensive card in Japan doesn't help. It kind of needs a reprint ASAP because it's the Regulus piece that, like, I have 2 of them, and I kind of like, the release price was really huge. And then at one point when the Vanguard hype was kind of like low because we're waiting for the Divines announcement, it dropped to like 3,200, and I was like, should I buy some? And I was like, nah, it's okay. I'll live with my 2 copies. Now I'm like, maybe I should have because it's back at like 5K now.
True.
So, warning to the English guys, when Triple Drive Booster comes out, you want your ladders.
Get them. But we got to move on. The first 3 were just random support for random decks. Now we're getting the same thing we got last promo pack, where the glitter decks get their jump riders.
Yes.
The first one up is Tamayura.
Yes. So this is Kawasohime. I don't know why the feet department at Wish Road is so active lately. We keep getting these girls with their dogs out, I swear to God. But other than that, this card is pretty good. When placed, Energy Blast 3, look at top 7 for grade 2 or less glitter, call it to rear. So this searches all of your dolls, basically, grade 2s and grade 1s. So in Prox, there are on-call effects for the grade 2s, which is also excellent. So it's already a card with an inherent plus when it's placed. And this is, it's not going to be doing too much on the rearguard circle herself, but luckily she doesn't need to be in the rearguard circle, because as long as you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Tamayura in its name, she goes to Soul, searches out the Daybreak Tamayura, and rides at a stand and shuffles your deck. And then if you either place the Vanguard during the ride phase or you Persona Ride this turn, you cannot Persona Ride. So essentially, when you ride the Daybreak Tamayura, she activates Persona Ride. So this is like in turn 3, you use this, you get the Persona Ride active on turn 3 already. But if you did not, or if you rode normally and then you still are trying to activate something off of this, then it will not happen. But you can even like ride into Daybreak Tamayura from hand and then still dex in 1 out with this. You just won't activate double Persona Ride. So it's the same, all of them have the same skill.
Yeah, they're stopping Thea. Because Thea is the only one that can legally double Persona Ride.
Exactly, yeah.
On top of, they're also stopping you Persona Riding while your opponent's a grade 2, which will be busted.
Yeah, exactly. So it is pretty nice, just because if you rode on the grade 3 turn, you don't get to it. It says if you place the Vanguard in the right phase. So it's really nice, just more copies of the grade 3s that have good utility effects. And this one is a good utility effect as well. And it's just more consistency to these decks, because like adding more grade 3s that are not part of your ride deck, that are not searchable, you're going to need to find searches for them eventually.
Like, we got 2 more to cover, but honestly, all of these that we're getting for the glitter decks is really needed, because the new glitter cards, the new boss units of the versions of the original lore cards are really good. The only problem was when finding them sometimes, because you need to draw into them, and then waiting until turn 4, and a lot of decks can't really survive till turn 4, and if they could, Bruce would be a thing still.
Especially for Chaos.
Exactly. So now being able to jump ride all the way up to these and activate them early is just so good. And Chaos is one of them, because we got Miss These Dragons.
It's actually Miss D's. It's actually a Z in the Japanese spelling, so it's actually a D's nuts joke inside the card name. But yeah,
I'm gonna hear this from Echo nonstop. Great. Anyway, amazing effect in my opinion. I'm really liking the direction, because it says act rearguard. If you have a grade 3 or grade of Vanguard with Chaos Sense card name, bind this unit.
There's no binds instead of going to Soul, so it's nice because it looks at the...
It goes away from what Chaos wants to do. It doesn't want to directly help them.
Yeah.
Which I like. Search the deck for Soul Ontario Chaos, ride a stand and shuffle the deck if you either placed, or if you Persona or do not activate the thing.
Same thing, basically.
Exactly. This is the fun one. Act Bind Zone if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Chaos in its card name. Put this unit into your drop and Soul Charge 1.
So it's a bit of an extra step of instead of, they could have just put this into the Soul, but they want you to have a random Soul Charge instead of a confirmed Soul Charge. So it also doesn't clutter with the same card going to your Soul all the time.
Exactly.
So it helps you hit your random Souls, and you can still run this as a 4-of without it disturbing what Chaos wants to do. So.
The biggest issue I actually do see, not with this card, but with Chaos himself, is you use that first Chaos turn to set up.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna try to turbo to 13 by turn 3.
Yeah.
To even do the full effect.
So I wonder how that's gonna work out.
I got a lot of testing to do.
Yeah.
I got a lot of things. Yours is a lot simpler. Yours is just, let's go.
Oh, my baby, Eva, finally got support. She's finally a real deck again after almost, we're getting close to a year of dormancy. So it's Eva, I think, started falling off. In Japan, she started falling off, I would say, with set 10/Festival Booster, which was May. Yeah, and this is coming out in March. So 10 months of dormancy, which is you know, the deck wasn't even alive for that long. I think it was.
I mean, you even got a restriction. You didn't even need it.
Yeah, right. So it's been a bit tough for us Eva players, but finally a good card. So her first skill is of this Immigra. Damn, he's like immigration. You're gonna meet this guy tomorrow at the airport.
I know, right? Don't scare me.
Damn, actual vetting monster. Dude, he's actually an immigration worker. That's insane. But this dude essentially has the same effect as the Tamayora one. So this one goes into the soul to search for the Pip Eva and ride it. And then of course, same clause like if you row it or persona row, it doesn't activate persona ride. But what's really important is that in the drop, whenever you play a research order from hand, you energy blast 3 to call this to rear and it gets plus 2k. And that is so huge. I cannot stress it enough.
So
you
much
have early game finally. Oh my god, it doesn't cost a CB. Like this is like combined rusher, but it's a grade 1. The best part is you revive it. In early game you can bash with it, they take it out, revive it again. And like you don't really necessarily play any other energy blast cards in this deck. So you're gonna just keep reusing him. And it's like, okay, I revive him on turn 3, just chuck him into the soul and ride up.
Exactly.
And then soul blast 1 for the grade 3 research order, and I can reuse him again next turn. As long as you have research orders, which you will in this deck because you have 8, you're gonna be having this on board all the time. And it's just like such a simple effect, but it's all the deck needed. Like a faster way to activate Poison in Paradise, and also a way to have early game. Like early game especially was so vital in this deck. I cannot stress it enough.
On top of that, it kind of prevents your opponent from trying to damage them because before your first Eva, you need a 2 CB to be fully active. The first CB to look at top, and then the second CB to
and now you can use the first CB to look at top, and then use the skill to go into Poison in Paradise. So you still get to do the tutoring, and then you still get the better battle phase skills.
Exactly.
Too. So it's like, it's everything I wanted. I think honestly, I couldn't have asked for any better of these, like the second skill. If you asked me what I would have wanted before the card reveal, I wouldn't even be able to tell you because I would have just said better early game, but I wouldn't be able to tell you how I would have wanted that to be paired with this kind of skill. But they managed to actually make it happen, and also added energy blast cost, which like it just doesn't have any other ways to use. Like maybe use the cycler from this set to like.
Yeah, you could.
Initially, I was like, oh, you could run both Evas, but now I'm like, you don't even need to just play this guy. So I'm very happy. Eva main is very happy, and I will continue to play Eva for another year.
I love this card in Eva especially because let's assume you miss it, right? All the mulligan, all the draws, deck fitting, and getting the grade 3, you somehow miss it, right?
What happened?
Okay, let me use the grade 3 research. Look at top 5. Is it there? No. Yes or no? Exactly. You might find it, you might not. Oh, let me use Ava's. Look at top 3. You have so many chances to find it. That you really have to break hard if you miss it.
Yeah, it's like, obviously it's best to see in the mulligan because you want to ditch it for red cost, but it's like, even if you don't, there's so many ways to like, because you deck thin so much too, it's like, the actual dream come true. Like this card is, the more I talk about it, the better it gets.
I think you're going to like an idea that I just came up with, or a realization. One problem that I want to mention with all of these cards, all these jump rides, especially for the glitter decks, is the fact that they are dead cards once your deck runs out of a specific card.
Yes.
Because it only searches deck. It's not like the grade 4 ones where they might ride from drop, from soul, whatever. But this only works, put the soul, search your deck for it, ride it. So if it's not in your deck, these only become good for their second abilities. But that just reminded me. Do you remember originally, Eva?
Well, you only had the thing that puts back your normally
grade 3s.
Yeah, I mean, you can put anything back, but if you put a grade 3, you can draw a card.
Exactly. So you might be able to combo that monster with this. You basically put that on drop, counterblast, look, play order, put this on rearguard, put it, and you just grab it from drop and go again.
But usually, if you've gone through 4 Paradises, I think your deck is so low that you're just fine to just go main phase Eva skill, rearrange the deck, attack, swing, win.
But you're in the Paradise where you used 4. I'm in the Paradise where
damage
3 exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. With that being said, though, that has been it for the leaks. So the only little thing left to talk about is some upcoming news. One of which is the festival collection that got announced for 2020. Booster, thank you.
Yes.
It's not a collection, it's a booster.
Yes.
This booster has a very cool looking dragon on the art. We do not know what it's going to do. I'm just hoping that all nations get one.
And more regular pieces.
Exactly. That is exactly. Not only getting reprint promos, some of which are just good promos.
Super expensive, like especially Sapien Owl was like 5k yen a piece for a while.
Exactly. And
I'm insane.
I'm super hyped for the main because she in my opinion, she gets played almost every single Dark Stage deck if able.
Yeah, she's pretty good. I think also for Leonor, having a lesser impact is also very, very nice.
But as you mentioned, we're getting not only 2 new orders, a Blitz and a normal order, that are nationless and have very similar arts to Sanctitude.
A lot of text on the second one too. You can see it's going to be a big text box.
But we're also getting 2 new over triggers.
Yes, 2 nationless OTs. It's going to be quite interesting just because, you know, the 2 they gave us already were pretty insane. And
how far are these going to go?
Yeah, I'm wondering what they're going to try to do because we've had, you know, multi-tax, we've had utility. So like, will they do another one with like 1 aggressive, 1 utility? Or will they try to go in a different angle as well? So
give us a defensive over trigger, get it still on the die. They don't even
I don't know if they want to do that.
But not only that, we also got some information on the English side.
Yes.
We got set 2 release date for June 28th. That is so far.
Yeah, I mean, we're what, mid-February right now?
Yeah.
So it's pretty far. I mean, it's also pretty far for us in Japan. It doesn't release until like late April, I think. So 2-month gap is kind of being upheld as usual.
I'm a Dark States mate, man. I want my faded one already.
Yeah, can only hope that it's gonna be good.
Exactly, but on top of being good, well, next Tuesday, we're finally starting to see some of the reveals for the new premium deck sets.
Yep.
We're gonna see Musketeer stuff. And then Thursday we're gonna see Jewel Knights.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a Jewel Knight crest.
Yeah, so I'm assuming all of them will have crests, so it'll be interesting. Apparently a Salome crest, and because these arts are the original grade 3s from the Break Ride era, I'm guessing their crest will turn them into 13Ks and stuff.
That would be cool.
I guess Raging Form will get the same thing 1 Tuesday later. So.
Exactly. And we also got an English date for all these, which is July 12th. So huzzah, in time
It's
for
the
BCS.
Same. Yeah, it's like it's basically the same schedule as JP where we get this just before set 2. And then all the D4 DJ news. Oh, I've become such a big Now fan overnight. I saw this picture and I was like, oof, heart skipped a beat.
So I did a D4 DJ collab with Bushier a long time ago. Whenever they did a collab of Vanguard and D4 DJ, I honestly did enjoy the game a little bit. So I might re-download it for this collab, as well as just to have something to, you know, tinker with in my free time.
Yes.
So overall, this just looks exciting, and like you said, the arts for these are actually legit.
My heart, this angle is not good for my heart.
And we're gonna finish this V-Time off with not only recap from Worlds, but your invitational.
Yes.
So real quick recap of Worlds. I was there as a vlogger, was a guest and all that, and managed to get a lot of interviews. That vlog video will be coming out very soon.
Looking forward to that.
But as someone who commentated and saw a little bit behind the scenes, I got to experience Worlds from a different perspective. How was it for you?
I think for the casting side, I mean, I've been casting Worlds for 7 years now. But it's always a very refreshing experience. I guess no, 6 years technically. But it's always a very nice experience, specifically in Japan. I think last year we were in LA and it was unique in its own sense, but also very dangerous because of it being in LA. So I was really happy that, like, with it being in Japan, I kind of knew that it was my duty to not only, you know, put on a show for casting, but also it's like I'm the person that lives here and knows everything and like has the ability to put things on for people. So I kind of put myself in the position where I have to do as much as possible during this specific the 1 week and around that weekend. So as you mentioned, I hosted the Invitational because I was like, there's people going back the day after, and there was even people going back the Sunday that I couldn't invite to the Invitational, but I made sure to call people that are there at least until the Monday. You know, we put on a show. It was still, you know, there's a lot of rough parts. There were still a lot of things that I wish we could have done better, but I'm overall pretty happy with how it turned out, and I'll be doing more things like this in the future, both within Japan and also again internationally for next Worlds too. So you can look forward to that, and then watch the VODs if you haven't seen them already.
Yes. I
have the both Japanese commentary by Knack and others on my YouTube live section, and then on my actual just uploads, I uploaded the English VOD too, commentated by Jay and Fuzzy, and as well as Kai and Tyler. So really, really nice. It was a great pleasure to put this event together and like see the communities kind of get together too at long last, especially the JP side and the English side. So I think overall the event was mostly a success. From my very perfectionist organizer standpoint, I think there's so much that could have been done better.
Hey,
a lot of things.
That's for next year, right?
Yeah, it is for next year, and it's like, you know, for upcoming events too. But do wish I could have done a bit of a better job, but I think overall we did okay. And then I also, you know, I hosted a little offline event for my own channel members and Twitch subs. That also was like a much more chill and relaxed one that, thanks to Shaka Shaka for letting me use their space, went without a hitch. So that was also very fun. The world itself was great. I think the stream was pretty entertaining. We had a lot of really fun games. Top 8 was like the last thing you'd expect for standard. So especially once the VOD for that goes up, you definitely should check that out. We had a lot of, like, I think Swiss Rounds had some really cool games. And then it was really cool to see some of the people from those games come back in the top 8 and like show us some really crazy games. Like I was losing my voice in the finals. We had some hiccups. We had a delay in the middle as well of Swiss.
Those are normal.
They're not. They
And
really
they're not
should
normal.
not.
They shouldn't be, but
They shouldn't be there. We will work hard to make sure they're not there next time.
your event especially, you know something's gonna go wrong. You just gotta be prepared to deal with it. And I gotta give Bishop staff props. Whenever the problem happened, they dealt with it really fast and really well, considering what the problem was.
Yeah. So I think overall, Worlds was also a great success, especially the Evolve side. I think of all the Worlds, Evolve was by far, I didn't cast Evolve, I chose to cast Standard, but Evolve was by far the best of the streams. If you watch the VOD, you'll see it was basically watching a Pokemon stream, where it's like they had like deck statistics, representation stats, they were showing deck lists here and there as well, like they were showing these breakdowns, they did trivia, giveaways, like all this stuff that you would expect from one of these streams, but it's only the Evolve team that really went so much further beyond to put in the work and like effort into the stream. So huge props to the Evolve side of Bushiroad. I mean, huge props to everyone at Bushiroad, but specifically the Evolve side, because like I know the person that went through all that effort, and like the sleepless nights need to be appreciated. And it's like there is someone that is really putting in the effort to make that stream look so good. And I hope that the Vanguard side can catch up eventually, but you need someone that motivated and with that much time to do
Yeah, but this will sound bad the way I say it, but I mean it from good heart. It's like there also probably was a lot of pressure because this was the first English Worlds Evolve streamed event, whatever.
Yes.
So you needed to kind of up the
Make
ante.
sure it's the best looking one too.
Exactly.
So, like not in the sense that like it has to put down the other games, but more so that they really went above and beyond to make sure it stands out. And like I think it's really
They
good.
succeeded it.
I'm going to do a little like, because I didn't get to watch the stream obviously because I was casting Stan at the same time, so I'll do a little VOD analysis for that as a thing coming.
Well, you're
up
gonna
as
just
well.
pull up a screen and just multitask?
Yeah, I mean, once the VOD is up, that's all I'm waiting for. So hopefully it goes up soon. But yeah, I think overall from my side, like Worlds was a good success, and I'm really glad it's back in Japan. Hope it keeps being in Japan because I mean I live here, and it's nice to do these events without jet lag, especially.
I will say one thing: bigger venues so people can come and watch.
Yeah, I think for next year, I hope that that's the message that Bushiroad has gotten to, because UDX is small.
Especially whenever you try to host 8 events. If it was something like 3 years ago where you just had like 3 to 4 events, this could have potentially worked.
Yeah,
but nowadays we have
it's
so
tournaments.
many games in one time, in one location, a bigger
tough.
venue is definitely needed.
Yeah, 100%. So I think there's a lot of good improvements for next year. Like I don't work for Bushi, so I don't know what they're exactly planning for next year's World, but I am involved in the planning process for Evolve side of things, and I can give direct feedback. So if you have any direct feedback you want to give for these streams, I know the right people to pass them on to. So let me know in the comments or directly.
You should hire certain casters that have long hair and, or 2 meters tall and, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
We all know why that can happen, buddy.
Look, it's a guy can dream, right?
A guy can dream. A guy can dream.
With all that being said, we're going to slowly end this episode here so we don't go too long. Thank you for...
What did you think of Worlds? You didn't get to really talk too much about it because this was your first time in Japan too.
This was actually my first time in Japan. I really like... I have always been born and lived in big cities, so I got used to, walking everywhere.
Yeah, I picked up this guy from the station on his first day of arrival, and he was like, "Wow, this reminds me of like Slovenia."
Exactly, like a lot of stuff just reminded me of home because it was just big city. You get used to the stuff, crowds and all that, and it was so familiar in that aspect. So I got to figure out myself really quick on, okay, I need to go here, I need to do this way. This is the road. This is the train. Stuff like that. Overall, just it's so calming because I'm very much a person that you respect me, I respect you. We're gonna have a fine time. Like we know boundaries and all that. And Japan is really that. Like everybody is, for lack of a better word, selfish in a good way. Like they're super into themselves, but they also respect you back in the same way. And that is just so refreshing because nobody wants to get in anybody's way. So everybody's polite, but at the same time, it's in an organized manner. Nothing's like disorganized. Everything's just runs smoothly.
Yeah.
Like I love
come
that.
late.
Yeah, I love that atmosphere because it's one of the few things like you don't want to get yourself involved with people you know. You want to use your energy and your emotions for people that you know. So the rest of the people that technically don't exist are NPCs in a way. Are just gonna pass you by. So if they don't bother you that as much, it's like perfect. Let me do my thing.
Yeah.
And we can all be happy.
Yes. Insert funny pictures of Philip not fitting into things, such as trains and doors and tunnels and other funny locations and standing over walls and
It's fine.
This is the funniest part. The best part of Philip in Japan is Philip in Japan.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll probably have elaborated more on my trip in the vlog because it's half a vlog, half a trip. I don't know. I still haven't edited it, so I have no idea how it's going to look. Hoping it's because I'm good.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
But with all that really being said, now we're going to end this episode here. Thank you very so much for watching episode 208 of V-Time. If you liked the episode, please like, share it with your friends. Comment down below what you thought of Worlds, what you thought of the Divine, what you are thinking that the other two Divine skills, because we're still missing 2. Jesus Christ, you're like one. The other 2 are missing. But other than that, if you like the channel, subscribe, ring that bell to get notified. Maybe become members for some awesome perks. With all that being said, I've been Philip.
And I have been Chris.
And I'll see you. Maybe he's the guy next year in the next one. Bye-bye. How loud do I need to be? Can I?
Close the door.
Not too loud.
Let's do it.
I realized the second I was going to do the intro, because my intro is usually,
Yeah.